Thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel, Reverend MeeLing. I've been known by a few names. Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, so on and so forth. Been known by a few names, put it mildly. So, I'm in Georgetown, Texas right now. And, in Georgetown, Texas, there is a Walmart. And I don't know if it's the Walmart that I passed previously as I'm going northbound on I-35, or if there is I think it is the one that I'm going to pass, because it has a gas station closer to the road of 35 going southbound. And while my two ex-sisters-in-law, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez and Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen, were most likely not told about this. Because, well, any person that would do something like this probably would not want to admit it. But it did happen. It did. So my now dead ex-husband had several firearms, which I am all for the Second Amendment. I have not had a problem with the Second Amendment. I believe in responsible firearm ownership. I believe in making sure you know what you're doing when it comes to utilizing a firearm, that sort of stuff. Firearm safety, all that sort of different aspects. And I would guesstimate there are plenty of people who very much agree with me in that regard. Gun safety is important. You know, if you have children in the vicinity, you know, you make sure that, you know, you have different precautions in place to make sure that they're safe. And that sort of stuff. I would guesstimate I cannot be the only person who would be for that. So, it is this one. I'm getting close to exit 262. So I think there's a Walmart nearby. Nonetheless. So in the white Dodge Grand Caravan that I had owned, I purchased it, ironically, from gun dealership with two N's in San Antonio, Texas. And that point in time, I don't remember what year it was, I think it was 2004, maybe. It was just before the first separation from my now dead ex-husband. Had driven, yeah, I think that's that. I think that's the one. So I had driven from San Antonio to Fort Worth and was driving from Fort Worth back to San Antonio. And my now dead ex-husband, I had purchased a whole bunch of different types of gun safes, gun locks, all that stuff, simply because he had refused to buy one gun safe. All he had to do was buy one gun safe. I warned him if he did not go and get one gun safe, that's all I asked, then I would go New Jersey gun laws on his gun safe. And not just New Jersey gun laws, but Virgo New Jersey gun laws. And he didn't understand what that meant. And I said, well, Virgos, I was born in the solar zodiac of Virgo, which means very, very, very organized. Like so organized, CDO organized type of thing. And New Jersey gun laws, well, it's going to be difficult for you to get to your firearms, which in some ways saved both of my children's lives as well as my own because of the extra precautionary measures. And so when I had finally remembered that I had repeatedly asked him to get it done, dealt with conversations until it was whatever. Okay, fine. You got 30 days. But when I actually remembered you have 30 days to get it done and then I'll do it, however many times that had been, that would be when I actually went and did it. And I went full New Jersey gun laws. I got a gun safe for the shotguns, a gun safe for the rifles, a gun safe for the black powder rifles, a gun safe for the pistols, a gun safe for the black powder pistols, and then a gun safe for the side of the bed, a Gamma 3 gun safe that had like a little code thing that you put in, and then the hydraulic lift and all that sort of stuff. And you know, whenever you put the code in, it almost seemed like, you know, I made that joke, but I had picked the code so that way in case I needed to get to it, then I'd be able to remember the code. And so it was 1776. That's what the code was. And so I had also gotten a concealed handgun case that looked like a Bible. The leather-bound cover looked like a day planner, but also like a leather Bible cover. Anyway, my now dead ex-husband had, and all of the gun locks, by the way, they had different keys. They were keyed completely differently for each and every one of them. Yep. Anyway, so, my now dead ex-husband would carry around what I call the Bible, because, you know, it looked like a Bible cover. It really did. And so one day when driving back from Fort Worth to San Antonio after the weekend there, went and stopped for gas. Now my headaches and migraines were just migraines. It was just, the pain level was just so painful, so bad, so just too much to bear for me. So I actually dealt with a conversation so that way he could drive, because that was how bad my pain, as though my pain levels weren't enough, had to deal with that on top of that. Anyway, so he got out to put gas in the car. It was a white Dodge Grand Caravan, as I said. And he, meaning my now dead ex-husband, put that Bible sort of thing on top of the roof of the car. I didn't know he did that. I went to go take care of my son and my daughter in the back seat. And so then, you know, he took off. He was mad that he had to drive because I was feeling as sick as I was. And he took off, drove, got all the way to the other side of Austin. And right after it opened up from, and those who have driven through Austin know which area I'm talking about, where it opens up from the 2 lanes to the 4 or 5 lanes on the other side of Austin. He was in the left lane, swerves all the way over to get off on the access road, turns around, does a U-turn, the first intersection, drives back. Now, when he drove off from the gas station, I heard a do-do-do-do-do. And I looked over at him and I was like, what just happened? And he looked at me and goes, you just need to shut up. You don't need to worry about that. I look at him and I'm like, that sounds like it was important. You should probably stop. It sounds pretty important. And so instead, I dealt with what I dealt with, and then, you know, he did the turnaround. Well, when getting back to that Georgetown gas station, my now dead ex-husband looks at me and says, get out of the car and look for something black. it's nighttime. And where am I supposed to look in the dark for something black? I mean, am I supposed to go into the light and look for something black? No, just walk around and try to find something black. Can you give me a little bit more of what I'm supposed to look for that's black? You know, like size or, you know, whatever. Any description beyond it being black. I had no idea it was that I was supposed to be looking for the concealed gun carry thing. So I'm looking for anything black in the dark at like 10:30, 11:30 at night, damn near midnight. Can't find anything. I mean, I found stuff that was black on the ground, but it wasn't anything that I thought I realistically didn't know what I was looking for anyway. So after 45 minutes of being left to walk around in the dark by myself with a headache, well, technically just migraines at that point, I obviously didn't find what I was supposed to find. So my now dead ex-husband pulls the van up and he goes, "Did you find it?" I don't even know what I'm looking for. My head hurts really badly. I want to throw up, but I can't because I don't have anything in my stomach to throw up. So, you know, what am I supposed to be looking for? Told me to get into the car. Oh, okay. And so at that point, I dealt with conversations. You know, what was I supposed to look for? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You drove all the way back to where we had filled up the car. Like, what? So after getting into San Marcos, essentially on the way back to San Antonio, my now dead ex-husband says, "You're going to be upset." Why? Pray tell, why? Other than the fact that my pain levels are through the roof and I feel sick and all these other things. What could it be? What could it be? Why don't you tell me? So he told me that he had put the freaking firearm concealed gun thing on the roof of the car. And then when I had said, "Was that the sound that I had asked? Are you talking of, like, that's the sound that I had said you needed to turn around for, right?" I dealt with the conversation until getting back to the house in San Antonio because I was accurate. That he should have turned around, not knowing what it was or anything like that at the time. So I told him, I said, "You need to call the police." And he was like, "I don't need to call the police." No, you do. You need to call the police because you losing a firearm, I know that it was loaded. I know that you had extra clips with, you know, completely full magazines. You know, what if a child finds that? What if this? What if that? So just list out all these possibilities. What if this? What if that? You know, I mean, seriously, like, I mean, obviously they're not, you know, I have my son and my daughter, so, you know, those are my children, but, you know, other people's children, you know, what about them? What about their safety? What about this? What about that? And just all these different possibilities. And so I get my son and my daughter taken care of. I get them into bed, and I go back downstairs. I deal with further conversation, and I'm like, "You have to. I don't care. It is what it is." I got introduced to the wall. I got introduced to the floor. I got introduced to the counter. I got introduced to a whole bunch of things during that conversation. I didn't care. I went and found the phone number for the police department. I dialed it, completely covered in blood. My own blood, which just, I'm not even going to go into that. But that is what it is. Got the phone, dialed the number, handed it to him, cleaned myself up as best as I could, went outside and had a cigarette to calm myself down, deal with the additional pain to my migraine, just normal stuff, right? Whatever. Anyway, I just kept smoking. I had my cup of coffee to help myself, and I had my cigarettes to just do what I needed to do to fix things for myself, because I needed to live and survive and all that stuff. Well, those who know, if you call a police station, you have to speak with them. Otherwise, they'll call you back. At least that's my understanding, and that's what I had told my now dead ex-husband in that regard at that time. And so he had been on the phone for probably about an hour, hour and a half. Then he goes to where I was outside on my back patio, and he was pissed. And I look at him and I'm like, what's your problem? He looks at me and says, I had to speak with so many different police officers. And I said, oh, okay. You didn't have to just speak with one or two? And he looked at me and he said, no, I had to speak with, this police officer, and then the police officer transferred me to another police officer, and so on and so forth. And I started laughing, which at that point in time, I had been beaten so badly, I was in so much pain. It was one of those, whatever. I mean, in certain ironies right now. Like, whatever. Why are you laughing, is what he asked me. And I said, oh, you were probably passed around at first because they didn't believe that anybody would put a loaded firearm onto the roof of the car. Did you tell them that I forced you to make the phone call, despite how that went? And he was like, yeah, told them that, you made me, call them because you were concerned about other. And he was literally saying it with an attitude. Yeah, I told them that you were concerned about other people's safety, and, what if somebody got hurt because if a child found it, and, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him and I go, I'm all for the Second Amendment. It's not that I'm not for the Second Amendment. I am for the Second Amendment. However, if you're going to make fun of me because I care about people's safety while being able to maintain the Second Amendment, and people have the right to bear arms, I mean, seriously, that shouldn't be a problem. Realistically, I don't know why you are mad at me, because it's because of stupid people like you, and then I dealt with what I dealt with, and then afterwards, it's like stupid people like you that caused problems for people in the state of New Jersey. Like, because of people being irresponsible, going overboard, and all that sort of stuff, and instead of taking responsibility for your actions and your choices, everybody else had to deal with it because of this, and now all sorts of people have to go through all sorts of unnecessary loops to attempt to be able to get a firearm because of dumbasses like you. So yeah, I'm glad that, I made you call. and speak with them. I'm glad that they passed you around, so that way they were able to find out what was needed. I hope that they laughed at you at some point, though. I did. Which he was mad about that, because he said that there was a point that he heard police officers laughing. I was like, good. Good. Because, you know, at first they probably didn't believe, because Georgetown, I don't know how big the population is, and meaning in reference to the time that happened, but, you know, I don't know what the population is, but they're probably accustomed to, you know, responsible firearm owners in comparison to you. And so, you know, if that, you know, opened their eyes and they were able to do what they needed to do, well then, good. You know, because I have never had a problem with the Second Amendment. I have never had a problem with people owning firearms. I think that's important, to be able to defend yourself. I think that it is important that if you want to go and hunt for your food, then you go hunt for your food. If you need, because of whatever situation you're in, to defend yourself, then go for it. You know, be, you know, calm and cautious. You know, if you absolutely have to use a firearm, but, you know, and preferably not. But if, you know, absolutely necessary, yes. I am all for the Second Amendment, despite where I grew up. Despite other things. And so, you know, of course I'm for the Second Amendment. And, you know, that phone call, not only does it protect the police officers, but it protects all the other people in the vicinity, because, you know, of how many clips were in there and all being fully loaded. With hollow points, no less. It was the Glock 45. Yeah. Hollow points. So, you know, did you at least, and I don't know, I don't remember if he told the police officers that they were hollow points. Nonetheless, at least he actually told the police officers. And so, yeah, while my 2 ex-sisters-in-law probably were not told about that, because, you know, probably didn't want to acknowledge what he had done in that regard, because of it being such an issue for him to contact the Georgetown Police Department about that. But at least I've fought to make sure that, and I've never lived in Georgetown. It was just the right thing to do. And firearms are portable. And a Glock 45 is very portable. I'm glad at least that when, you know, it fell off the roof of the car, it didn't go off, because I know he had one in the chamber. But yeah, while my 2 ex-sisters-in-law, meaning Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen and Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, probably did not get told that, I told Grandpa Nichols about that the next time I saw Grandpa Nichols. And Grandpa Nichols went into my dead ex-husband because he knew better. And I also told his brother Tony later on. I dealt with the conversation for telling his brother Tony about that. But that is what it is. And I told plenty of people about that. Because shortly after that, because I think that was in 2004, if I'm not mistaken, I had told plenty of people about that. I was heavily involved in the San Antonio pagan community at that time. And so I know I told my teacher my Reiki teacher where I got up to my Reiki master teacher instructor thing. So yeah, level 3. I very much did. And at that time, my biological mother and my biological father and biological sister had already moved to the city of San Antonio in the state of Texas. And I told my biological father about that. And even he agreed that it needed to be told to the Georgetown police. And so he didn't know about the conversation as to what it was. I did tell him that there was a conversation. He didn't understand what conversation meant for me at that time. However, that is what it is. And I still don't feel bad about it, by the way. I do not feel bad that I had made sure to contact the Georgetown Police Department for him to then speak with them. Because, yeah, I dialed and I made sure that I heard a hello before I handed the phone over. And I didn't have to do that. But in realistic aspects, in a retrospective look, how quickly would somebody have turned that around the way certain things have occurred as far as the Second Amendment in states like where I grew up, in New Jersey. And in the state of Texas, I don't think so. I wasn't born here. I know that I've technically re-raised here, and I woke up here after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. But I'm not going to infringe on somebody else's right to own firearms. I think that's extremely important. And so, it might not be a big deal to some people. And my ex-sisters-in-law, specifically Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen and Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, might have thrown a fit when they found out about that. But I don't care. They threw a fit to the wrong people. Should have been mad at their dead brother / spiritual husband. Realistically, that's who they should have been mad at. And not that I can take it back, but I wouldn't take it back even if I could. Because it's not just the police department that needed to have that awareness. Others did as well. And if they didn't like it, I don't care. Because realistically, how many people could have been injured just from that Glock 45 that was fully loaded with one in the chamber? Not forgetting the extra clips. And there were at least 2 or 3 extra clips that were fully loaded. And those who understand firearms know what hollow points can do. So it wasn't just 1 or 2 people that needed to have that as far as information. Plenty of people who needed that. And if they were able to find that firearm, fantastic. If they were not able to find that firearm, it was purchased brand new, and I know for a fact at that time, at least I think, well, I'm fairly certain for a fact that, no, I know for a fact by then any new firearm had been registered. With a serial number and all that. So So, that's what I had to say in this official YouTube channel video of mine. Thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. Go and comment and like and share and subscribe. You guys have a good one.